So this used to be Charlie Chaplin Studios. Now it's Jim Henson Studios. Um, it used to be surrounded by orange groves. I wanted to see this location for many reasons. First of all, I'm a huge fan of Jim Henson, and I have been since I was a toddler back in the late 70s. Um, I used to go around saying Kermit the Frog was my first crush. The Charlie Chaplin history is fascinating to me too, not only because Charlie Chaplin's such a big name in Hollywood history, but also there are mentions of the Charlie Chaplin studios in my Weird Hollywood book. Charlie Chaplin constructed the studio on 5 acres of land in 1917, and he filmed many of his silent movie classics within these walls. I know that he filmed The Gold Rush there, City Lights, and Modern Times. He also built a home on the property and imprinted his famous duck walk footprints in the cement outside of Soundstage 3, possibly inspiring the Chinese theater footprints years later. One of the reasons it was in the Weird Hollywood book was because it's been said that there are occasional sightings of Chaplin's ghost there. Politically left of center, Chaplin had been suspected by FBI Director Edgar Hoover of being a communist. While Chaplin was flying back to England in 1952 for the premiere of what proved to be his last American film, Limelight, Hoover ordered the Immigration and Naturalization Services to refuse re-entry to the comic icon. Exhausted from having been involved in a number of court cases and political controversies during the 40s and early 50s, Chaplin opted not to challenge Hoover, gave up his U.S. residence, and moved to Switzerland. He sold the studio in 1957, and it was sold again 2 years later to comedian Red Skelton, who removed the famous duck walk cement footprints and placed the impressions in his home in Palm Springs. The studio, I wonder where those are now. I should look into that. The studio was sold again in 1961, this time to CBS Studios. Raymond Burr, star of the network hit Perry Mason, lived on the lot for a number of years. Changing hands once again in 1966, the studio was purchased by Herb Alpert and Jerry Moss, the A&M of A&M Records. Soon, Quincy Jones, the Carpenters, and the Sex Pistols and the Police were working at the house that Charlie built. For years, the recording studios would close between 2:30 and 3 a.m. because of relentless hissing and feedback. Some say that this was the scheduled time for the ghost of Karen Carpenter to lay down her latest tracks. In 1985, the one-time only supergroup USA for Africa left their egos at the door and recorded the popular single We Are the World there. And you all know I'm a huge 80s fan, so that, of course, was interesting to me. The band members, which included Bruce Springsteen, Ray Charles, Bob Dylan, Stevie Wonder, Michael Jackson, of course, iconic, Waylon Jennings, Billy Joel, Paul Simon, and others donated their profits to the relief efforts in Ethiopia. The Henson family bought the building in 1999, and the Jim Henson Company lot has set up shop there since. In a fitting tribute to the property's first landlord, as well as to creative visionary Jim Henson, the Jim Henson Company erected a 12-foot tall statue of Kermit the Frog, decked out in Chaplin's famous Little Tramp costume. The sculpture stands proudly on top of the building today, and at night is lit up for dramatic effect with a spotlight. On the corner, it's a corner building. I didn't really get a good shot of this corner here, but I did get around the side of it. That street in the back is where I was traveling through. So this is what it looks like today.